This is Code Red.
Hey guys, you're listening to the Code Red podcast. I'm Shubh,
And this is Parthib.
and this is a podcast where we review Manchester United games, player ratings, and tactics. Throughout the series, we're also going to be looking at any club updates such as transfer news, contract extensions, or any injuries to the squad. Today, we're looking at United's 2-0 win at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace.
So this is coming off this is now their 19th consecutive unbeaten game for United under Solskjaer. And in the previous round, they had tied 2-2 against Southampton in a game that was a must-win game for them to get Champions League spot. So in the 46th minute, we had Marcus Rashford scoring a cheeky goal, pulling it aside and kind of screwing over all the defenders. And then we had Anthony Martial with a great goal in the 78th minute. So lineup-wise, we actually saw something different from the since the restart. Since the restart, Ole's been playing the exact same lineup we have, but now the changes are Timothy Fosu-Mensah and Scott McTominay were starting. So starting from the back, it was a 4-2-3-1, same as always. David De Gea, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Fosu-Mensah now. Then we had Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay from Nemanja Matic. Then we had Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and Anthony Martial. And on the other hand, we saw Crystal Palace playing a 4-3-2-1 with Gaida in the goal, Ward, Dan, Sacco, and Van Aanholt in defense, MacArthur, Mihailovic, McCarthy, Townsend, Zaha, and Ayew. I butchered that, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead with the start of the game.
Yeah, I think United would have more so learned from the Southampton game. Kind of Crystal Palace, I think, kind of learned from the Southampton game, and they were kind of pressing United. Just like these past couple of games, they've really been trying to dominate those first 20 minutes of possession. And but unlike the other games, the goals took a while to come for even for both sides. Palace couldn't score today, but we saw against Bournemouth, Villa, even Southampton. Usually they would score right after the drinks break, but today the goal came in injury time of the first half, and I think the game seemed pretty even in the first half. We saw Zaha had a huge chance in I believe it was first or second minute, with De Gea just parrying it away on his right side.
Yeah, it was a good save.
It was a really good save. And then we had some penalty shouts from Zaha, and also some very obvious not penalty shot from I believe it was Pogba early on, and then Martial later on in the second half. But I think the kind of type of play, I think it kind of improved. I think against Southampton, United were really passing it back to De Gea a lot, and they were really playing it out from the back. But I think today, I think we saw a lot more clearances. I think we saw United kind of allow Harry Maguire to more so drive the ball forward, and McTominay kind of play that back three kind of role.
Yeah, they really listened to last week's episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't want another Pogba accident, but yeah, it was it seemed like a boring game on paper, the first no goals in the first 45, but it was very equal. Both United and Crystal Palace were going back and forth, not really letting anyone get into each other's box, but we had a few good shots there. But as we saw, they haven't been United haven't been playing the type of the explosive counterattacking football that we've seen them play in the early matches at the start of the restart. It seemed like this goal was really well thought out, and it would just seem like they were taking their time and just trying to find the passes, and which obviously they did, and a great finish by Rashford, just kind of dumbing it to his other foot and getting an open goal for himself. But yeah, it's something completely different. It's not something bad per se, but it's a kind of deviation from what they started playing at the start of the break. What do you think the cause of that is?
I think it also comes down to the teams they were playing. In the Sheffield game, they kind of played with a more so back five rather than a back three. Bournemouth also, Brighton, those teams, they kind of sat their players back, and so they were able to kind of break them down quickly. But I think also with the games kind of coming after 2-3 days consistently, they kind of start to feel lose that kind of crispness, I guess, if you will, or like the way they play. So they are kind of getting tired. I mean, these past few games, United have seemed a bit like the energy has been like taken down a level. It's down a notch, but I think that's why United have kind of deviated to that type of play where they take their time try to be critical with those chances because not a lot of chances are coming, so they can't afford to just waste a shot. So I think with the energy they have and like they can't really have injuries to the squad, so I think they're playing more so more relaxed but also more focused or purposeful play style, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't really. We saw what happened to both Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams last match. Both their left backs getting injured isn't a good sign, but luckily they had Fosu Mensah. He did a decent job, I'd say. He just fit into the team, and like he could be. What do you think? Do you think Fosu Mensah is going to stick around, or do you think Brandon Williams is going to become like the next one after Luke Shaw?
I think Brandon Williams is second in the pecking order. We saw, I think it was it Bournemouth where I think Wan-Bissaka got a yellow card, so then Ole subbed off Wan-Bissaka for Brandon Williams because they couldn't afford to get Wan-Bissaka a red. But we know that Brandon Williams can play on the left and right side. I mean, he's made some key saves against Brighton, against Norwich with that 1v1 in the FA Cup quarterfinal. So I think Brandon Williams is a good player. And to be honest, he kind of reminds me of Nemanja Vidic. Not this playing style, but his kind of mentality. I mean, Ole said that like right after he kind of got that blow from Kyle Walker-Peters, that collision, he wanted to keep playing. He would have kept playing if it was if he was allowed to, but they couldn't risk it because it was an injury. But I think Williams, he's learning under Luke Shaw. He's starting to get better, and I think he's definitely second in the pecking order.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, so I think Brandon Williams is definitely an apprentice to Luke Shaw, and I think he'll kind of solidify that second string.
Fosu Mensah has been here for a while at the club. How long has it been?
I think 17-18 season he was out on loan, and then he hasn't played like for the first team in about like 2 or 3 years.
I remember he's been like relegated twice with clubs he was on loan at, right?
Yeah, and he had a knee injury which kept him sidelined for a while.
Yeah, so if he's being loaned out, he's obviously not in United's first order. But yeah, I mean, you have to do what you have to do, and like he worked out well as a sub to a sub. But yeah, hopefully they get back. It suffered pretty bad injuries last time, but Scott McTominay, like he actually got subbed off in the second half for Nemanja Matic. Do you think like his performances were like equal to Matic or no?
No, I think McTominay, what I see him is, I think before the restart he was much better. I think he could take the ball much easier. But I feel like now he's just there to mark a man. He doesn't really bring anything to the squad, I feel like, or in his game. I mean, we've seen him make a couple good tackles, but I think, Crystal Palace were close to, getting that second goal, getting those equalizers with those good shots. And I think Ole didn't want to risk it, so I think bringing on Matic, more experience, was a good idea. And Matic, he got the ball a couple times. He was able to, push the attack forward. So I think it was a good substitution. Yeah. But yeah, going back to that left back scenario, a lot of people thought that Diego Dalot would start in the absence of Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams. Did you think?
But Dalot's a right back, no?
He does play right back, but he also has shown glimpses of left back at times. Do you think that he should have started?
No, I think you really didn't like him in the game match against Norwich, and even he was pretty underwhelming for me. I don't think he would have started. Like I mean, like maybe just reserve him for FA Cup potentially. I mean, we'll get to that maybe because they're playing Chelsea. But yeah, I think Fosu Mensah kind of forgot about him, and then when he was back in the squad, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good shot. Put him in there for Brandon Williams and Luke Shaw. But so yeah, I doubt David Dalot would have fit in well in that left spot, even though he can play left back. But yeah, now that Jordan Ayew offside goal, what do you think about that? First off, it was Wilfried Zaha was killing it. Like he's always shown glimpses of like that, like kind of like that top tier player. I hope he gets to move to like a bigger club maybe and kind of replicate those same performances because he's a killer player. Did well to get past Wan-Bissaka. Was a good defender by every standards, and it was a kind of a scuffed shot, but Jordan Ayew was positioned well. But do you think that was offside?
I mean, according to VAR, yes, it was you could see the red line and the blue line kind of differentiate Wan-Bissaka's foot from Jordan Ayew's. But I think it is kind of coming to the point where like inches offside or it kind of ruins the spirit of the game because like if you score, you can't even celebrate or you have to wait until like it's confirmed and then you can celebrate.
So the offside rule, it's kind of like it's like there for like just to clarify how I always seen it and how it always seems in the game is like if there's an unfair advantage to the forward, the goal or the play gets stopped. But we've even seen in La Liga, and I've ranted about it before in our group chat. But like it's by like a toe off. He's like less than he's inches off. Like how is that in any way, shape, or form like a sizable advantage to the forward? Because if anything, it was bad by Harry Maguire for not, or whoever was in the back, I don't remember who was supposed to be marking him, for not catching on to him. It was bad by their play, and he did well to get in the right position and have his timing on point. But like he's not even that far off. Like how, in what world is that a sizable advantage? I say, in my eyes, offsides should always count if it's either a foot off, like a minimum you're a foot ahead of the defender, then it's offside. But I don't see like as a toe off. Like that's not offside in my eyes, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think the clear and obvious kind of aspect of it should be if it's a clear and clear and obvious advantage. I mean, not just if it's a toe off or inches off, but if the striker is getting a real advantage by for example, just standing in front of the goal and then getting the ball to his feet, that would be an obvious advantage. But Jordan Ayew, he just kind of ran in. He made a good off-ball run. Wilfred Zaha made a good ball, and I don't think that's Jordan Ayew's fault. I mean, if he's a toe off, he's a toe off, but like it's not a clear and obvious offsides. So I think I think VAR needs to be more consistent with the reviews.
Yeah, it was a rude awakening third grade when I realized you can't just stand by the goal and wait for the ball to come to you.
Yeah. Basketball, it works for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, VAR has to really like it's young. How much has it been? Like 2 years since it's really been implemented? It's like 2018 World Cup. I remember it was like, wasn't it during the World Cup that it started?
Yeah, because the Iran guy did.
Yeah. and then even against I can't remember in a Barcelona match, Piqué was like doing like this, like he's typing, and then like when they got a goal. Yeah. I remember that match. Oh man, it's funny these celebrations, but like I mean, well, we're like whatever you call it, grievances. But yeah, it's young, but like it's high time. Like before anything, I think VAR should be really like revamped and like made sure that like it suits the style of play. Because soccer, you see, it's so much different than like something like football. Like it's free flowing, it's fluid. Like regardless of what you're playing, you don't stop the clock no matter what. And I think the whole like concept of VAR and being so stringent is kind of like clashing with the actual ideals of the game. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think also like, I mean, we've kind of seen how VAR has been more of a problem in England rather than in other leagues. But yeah, I mean, like we saw, I think it was Trent Alexander-Arnold. He just like really just stamped on the Arsenal player's foot, and then Vardy a couple of games ago just like, was it Mustafi or someone he just like cleated to the face?
Vardy does what Vardy does.
Yeah, but I think if they review some things, don't review others. I think overall it needs to be more consistent, and I think the laws which it abides to should be changed to be more common.
Yeah, especially with Liverpool.
I mean, I can't talk, so if I speak, I'm in trouble.
What do you think of the cricket's form? Like, do you think like players should be limited to like maybe 2 or 3 reviews?
Oh, like the DRS?
Yeah, the DRS for cricket. You want to give them a quick rundown of what it means first for the non-cricketers?
Yeah, so basically there's an umpire, and so like suppose if the bowler thinks it's out, but the umpire doesn't, then they can appeal. And so there's a system like VAR, the decision review system, which allows the ball to be like they can predict where the ball will land without actually hitting the stump. So it can like bounce, and then it will show like whether it's bouncing to hit the stumps or missing it, etc. And the way it works in cricket is you have like two reviews, and then if you get the review right, then it's retained. But if you lose it, then you lose that review. And so Parthiv is stating here that what if we only had two VAR decisions? No, I think. There's instances of like red cards and stuff, and I think with the technology, we shouldn't have to appeal for whether it's a bad play or not, whether it's a goal or not. I think they should look into everything, but just as I've said it multiple times, I think consistency is what matters, and I think changing the laws. I believe it was Tottenham versus Sheffield, and like Lucas Moore was falling down to the ground, and then the ball just like the Sheffield defender just like whacked it off his hand, and then it bounced to Kane. Kane scores, but it gets cancelled because Mora's hand it was involved. So what was he supposed to do? So I think it really needs to appeal to common sense more.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So then I got a Milvojevic. Sorry, he had that bang of a free kick like right before the halftime. It would have been that's like honestly I don't think even like someone like Leo Messi or like Juninho could maybe have scored it from that position, but they're just lucky De Gea was on his top game today, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think he made any obvious errors, and he kind of if the ball kind of came to him, he cleared it. There were instances where Pogba was at the D and he passed it to him, and I was kind of scared, I won't lie. But I think I think he had a good game.
Yeah. Anyways, and then that Martial goal.
The Rashford build-up, though, that was something.
Yeah, that was a hell of a build-up.
Beat 3 defenders and then passed it to Bruno. Bruno makes the defender, and then I think Rashford's decision making is maturing. I think he doesn't just quickly go for goal. He kind of analyzes, and it doesn't take him too long to understand that 1-2 kind of link up between him and Martial. Throughout these games, Rashford has scored for, I think, the past 3 games, including this one today. Rashford scores, and then Martial scores the second one.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's good to see them kind of complementing each other, and they're doing really well to score goals and really break those defenses down.
Yeah, they've really come together because like before, like it was either Martial or Rashford kind of taking the reins. Like there was a Rashford. He had the injury back in January where he broke his back. No.
Yeah, and then Martial was injured, I believe, in weeks like 2 to 8 or something for a couple months.
Yeah, so like it's good like they're both like at the same time because like they're really like providing an outlet in the forward to score for them. So yeah, it's a great play by the two of them, and then they're staying consistent, which was what the biggest thing we said for strikers, that they have to be consistent. Like they maybe not score a goal every week, but like make sure they don't go like have a huge like goal scoring drought where they just don't score. So yeah, it's good for them, but the third musketeer is kind of sputtering out. Mason Greenwood, he's had a poor performances these last 2 matches.
Yeah, he was a doubt for this game. He pulled his ankle was actually swollen from the Romeu challenge from the Southampton game. So he was a bit uneasy, but we kind of saw glimpses of him kind of attacking and building up forward. He did miss a couple of key chances. I believe Martial passed it to Greenwood.
Yeah.
Key chance, and then he kind of scuffed it right. I don't think he had any significant shots after that. He more so just passed it out. But I think was it who came on for Mason? Was it
Jesse Lingard.
Jesse Lingard, right. Jesse Lingard. I knew it wasn't James, so I was kind of confused. Yeah, Jesse Lingard. My guy.
That guy needs to be dropped.
Yeah, I don't know what he is doing. I think the only thing he did was challenge the new young left back when Patrick Van Aanholt got injured. He just had that one play where he caused it to go out of bounds, but I don't think Jesse Lingard did.
Yeah, I love it. This is a while back. You just sent me the video. Phil or Gary. I keep forget one of the Nevilles. They're like, yeah, I like Lingard, and then there's we always talk about the Irish guy. What's his name?
Roy Keane?
Roy Keane. He's like kind of looking at like Neville's like, what are you on, mate? And it's just funny because like Ole and like they rate him so high, but he has nothing to do. He shouldn't be like in a 5 mile radius of within Old Trafford. He has no business there, I'd say.
I think the thing with Ole that he's inherited from Sir Alex is kind of very opposite of Mourinho. He doesn't criticize his players publicly, like if it's press conferences, even if it's obviously not a penalty, like the Bruno penalty versus Villa. I think Ole said like, yeah, someone's like going for your feet, you're gonna.
He tried to sidestep the question, but like.
That's a good thing. Like he likes to keep the morale of the club high. Mourinho kind of does the exact opposite. He kind of scapegoats the players. But I think that kind of shows Ole's confidence and trust in them. But there have been reports that, like obviously United have been linked with Jadon Sancho. So United are looking to sell about 6 players, Lingard included, in one of them, and possibly Dalot as well. I think the Dalot one and Lingard is more so confirmed, I guess, or like prioritized, because I mean Dalot, he's young and he didn't start today, and Jesse Lingard, I don't think he's been on the bench past couple matches, hasn't started past couple matches except for the Norwich
his last
one.
match is Norwich, sorry.
So I think I think they've had their kind of chances to prove themselves, but I think I don't see their future at Old Trafford, and especially with the young team that Ole is building, I think they really need to flush out the deadwood and really get those key signings which can take United to the next level.
Yeah, you're right. Like what you're saying, like Mourinho just doesn't he doesn't like use his players as scapegoats. But at the same time, there has to be like a level of like, okay, you messed up today. Like, don't you can't be doing this consistently. Like, we don't know if Ole does that obviously behind closed doors. Yeah, but it's a good thing. Like he's like keeping the morale high, because you don't want players feel alienated. But at the same time, at least he doesn't call himself the special one.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Anyways, so. Want to go to player ratings?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, David De Gea. Today was a good match. It was the first time we really saw like his capability since the restart. Like the keeper that we always love to see playing. So yeah, I give him a 7, man.
Yeah, I think I also gave him a 7. These past couple matches, he's shown like one good save after like making an error or making a bad. Whether it was like the Spurs save against like Sasson. Or the header against Southampton, like he's shown like a couple of glimpses, but I think today he really like solidified that kind of, like I still have that potential that David De Gea kind of showed us today. So I gave him a 7. He wasn't like tested very much, I'd say. Like,
but the ones where he was tested, like he did well to do it.
Yeah, I think, and he still looks a bit. Kind of different from his old form. I think like before we saw United really not United, De Gea really stretching out. But if you watch the replay of the free kick, I think De Gea was kind of slow, and then he kind of like was lucky to kind of get a hand on it. But I think it's good to see that he can still save.
Yeah, Harry Maguire. He was like he's big, he's tall, he's a target man for the box, but like he really needs to get on those headers. Like the first header, he wasn't even looking at it; he just came and hit it.
He's just like dazed by it.
Then the second one, it went way over the bar. The third one was the best opportunity to score. It went wide. So yeah, something maybe they should work in the training grounds, because we've seen like they can do corners. Like we saw the Bruno Pogba corner, obviously, but I think if they're trying to go for like a more direct corner route, they really have to work on it especially with Harry, because yes, we rag on him a lot, but he can be good. He's shown glimpses of that. But like if he can start scoring headers like that, then maybe he'll get in our good books. So I gave him 5.5.
Yeah, I mean I think he scored one header for United, and it was against Chelsea. So I think.
So he can do it. He can do it. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's he has the capability, and I think previous to the season, United's worst aspect of their game, I'd say, besides like defense, offense, kind of that general was their set pieces. I mean, Rashford wasn't able to take free kicks at the time. He had kind of a botched cross today.
Do you remember that Fred free kick from like
Oh yeah,
January?
yeah.
I was watching that with some friends, and we couldn't stop laughing. That was the funniest
Yeah.
free kick I've ever seen. But yeah, they're especially picking up at the set pieces nowadays.
Yeah, I think Bruno's free kick was not too far off when he tried to go for the near post.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God Fred's not taking our free kicks anymore.
Yeah.
That was like Riyad Mahrez' penalty. What was it last season, I think, or something?
Last season, yeah, I remember that.
The sky.
Never gonna come down again.
Yeah, Rashford's not hitting senior citizens in like 10 rows up. But yeah, I think United set pieces have improved, but I think they could still do better.
Yeah, they can capitalize on a lot more if they can. I mean, you can't stop improving. That's the thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Victor Lindelof, he's been like lackluster, like maybe worse than lackluster since the restart. I'd say. What'd you give him?
I think today was his. I think today he had a good game.
Yeah, but like then again, like his good game is like a decent game, like an okay game by like a good defender standards.
Yeah. I gave him a 6, I think. Oh, also for Maguire, I gave both a 6. I think Lindelof improved. He was able to capitalize on some loose balls. He was able to defend well. Also, that Zaha kind of Lindelof entanglement. Do you think it was a penalty?
I'm not too sure. I'm really kind of conflicted because like yeah they got tangled and he fell, but like was there any intention? I'm not too sure. What do you think?
I think Zaha tried to kind of commit Lindelof to kind of foul him, but Lindelof kind of went for the behind rather than the front, and so Lindelof was able to kind of get a touch on that ball, which I think kind of converts it to the non-penalty decision. But I think it was a good play by Lindelof. I mean, obviously it's kind of risky to make a tackle in the box, but I think he did well. He was more composed today, and we didn't see him kind of passing it out in the back today. So I think it's good. They're really just like letting the offense do the work, as Gordon Ramsay would say with his knife.
That's for sure. Anyways, yeah, Lindelof, yeah, 5.5. He can be better, that's for sure. Wan-Bissaka?
Wan-Bissaka, he was okay. I mean, marking Zaha is obviously kind of hard.
It's not no easy feat.
He did a decent job. I'd give him a 6. I don't think he really contributed to that attack. There was that one run where he had, where he just like megged the defender and then he was just like sprinting down. But I don't know if he made any crosses or whatnot. I don't think.
Yeah, he really wasn't making room for himself getting balls.
Yeah,
and,
so I think he had an average. Yeah, I think he had an average day at the office.
So 6.
Yeah,
sounds fair enough. Fosu Mensah.
I think the thing with Fosu Mensah is we didn't really have any previous games to compare him to.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And he's played in a lot of different roles. He's played center back, CDM. He hasn't really played left back before. He debuted against Arsenal as left back, but.
And we're live back from Shubh leaving. So we're going to Fosu Mensah next. What do you have to say about him?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any games to really kind of base his play off of. So I think I'll give him a 6. I mean, it's kind of hard to play in a role you haven't really solidified or played in, and I think he did a really good job of kind of breaking up the play at times, and he had some glimpses of kind of running up the field, but I don't think he did anything extraordinary that Shaw or Brandon Williams hasn't done. But at the same time, he didn't really make any critical defensive errors, so I think he had a pretty average game.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him actually a 6.5, purely because like he hasn't played in the first team in a while, and he did put up a decent spectacle. Like as you said, it was nothing crazy, but at the same time, it was solid. As defender standards, like it was solid. At least they didn't concede. However you see if they concede or not, but yeah, 6.5 purely because he hasn't played in the first team in a while. So yeah, moving on, Pogba. So he's back off his fatal error from the last match in a pretty garbage match in general from last week. What do you have to say about him?
I mean, he wasn't as sloppy against the previous matches. So I think that was nice to see. And then, yeah, I think, I mean, he was able to kind of deliver some balls, but he didn't really have a like long ball kind of uh, that kind of repertoire that he's built for himself. So I think he was kind of quiet, I'd say today. So I'll give him a 6.
Yeah, 6 here. It was nothing crazy, and he didn't. At least he didn't mess up again, which would have been bad. But yeah, McTominay.
Um,
I'm not.
McTominay. I mean, yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You go ahead.
I think he didn't like as we kind of mentioned before. He didn't really contribute anything drastically, and at times he actually kind of let the ball kind of fall to the Crystal Palace players. I mean, we saw kind of Lindelof or Maguire would be man marking a striker or no, the opposition player, and then McTominay would kind of just let the ball roll to the opposition. And I think the McTominay we saw before the restart versus after was a very different player. I mean, he has been injured in the season around November, I believe, October, November. But I think he has a lot to learn, and I think with the new Nemanja Matic contract until 2023, I think hopefully he can learn from Matic and build his kind of awareness because he has that that mentality to play for United. He wants to play for United. He's like Brandon Williams. He has that mentality. So I think if he can improve his game, he can be a top CDM.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, yeah. Same thing with Paul. With nothing crazy, nothing. But yeah, he could have worked harder in that position. We always see him, the man Matic, trying to support that back line as well as provide like some support to the forward when starting plays. We didn't really see that today. I mean, we didn't see much from United attack apart from those 2 goals. But yeah, 6 sounds fair. Now Bruno Fernandes, my guy.
Yeah, I think kind of had an average-esque game today, even though he got the assist.
Yeah.
Finally registered in my FPL. I was kind of scared. But yeah, Rashford delivered a good cross later on in the second half, and then Bruno just kind of hit it with power, but hit the post, which would have given
That was an unlucky one.
would have given me 8 points, and right now
8 points
I'm behind by 5 points, so it's very close.
from first place.
Yeah, I'm behind by 5 with 2 game weeks to go.
That's not bad. Like, how many points were you behind before the break?
46.
Oh yeah, that's good. You closed.
And then I was above, and then I dropped. Now I was 1 point ahead last game.
That's what you get for putting your entire FPL lineup as backline as United's backline.
I didn't know they were going to concede 2 goals.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll give him a 6.5. I mean, if he gets a rest, he can kind of play back that kind of flashy Bruno Fernandes we saw him. But we did kind of see instances of him kind of taking shots outside the box, kind of his playing style. He's a risk taker, and so I think he had an average game, but his standards are so high that an average means an assist.
Yeah, it's expected from him to like kind of sputter out because like they've been playing so many games. Like this is their second game in like this span, second out of the third game in the span of 6 days, and it's being crazy on him. Like after the break, we obviously saw how well he was playing, high risks, high turnover. So yeah, he's a high risk player, and that's something good for United because like you need someone that can take the risk and is fearless, and I think that's good for Bruno. But yeah, he obviously got that assist today, which was a cheeky one. But it's taking a toll on him, the amount of games he's played in this short amount of time. So I don't see him coming back to the same Bruno level that we saw until maybe Europa game. I don't think he'll play in the first one against LASK. Maybe like when the season restarts again next year. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to see him again. And I think I give him a 7. He's kind of like in my personal favorite players of like as of now. There hasn't really been anyone that's kind of filled in that spot for me in a while. But yeah, I give him a 7.
Yeah, I think he had a couple chances where he could have delivered a better pass. I think it was like on the counterattacks. He could have definitely improved, but I think he still had a pretty good game. Moving on, let's go with Mason Greenwood.
Yes, he's 5.5. Like, yeah, he had some good shots here and there, but like he was coming off like a not an injury, pretty like not he didn't. I don't think it wasn't obvious he wasn't fully recovered yet. That was a pretty awful challenge. Actually, now that we're to it, so we saw like Romeo actually pretty badly hurt. I mean, it was bruised. Do you think the PL can be like given the authority to maybe ban him for like maybe 2 games or even 3 games? I mean, the rest of the games they have to play, because like that was it. Like maybe even after the game ended, like after seeing the consequences, do you think like it's fair for them and fair like it benefits like, well, it's not obviously not going to benefit Southampton, but do you think it's a fair thing they can do?
I think it is the fair thing to do, but we've kind of seen numerous times where they'll make a bad decision on a goal or something, or a decision. I think it was like even the Bruno penalty against Villa, and then a couple hours later they'll admit, yeah, it wasn't the right call. So I think for this instance they can't specifically just give him a red card. But I think moving on, or like for next season, I think they have such good technology. Maybe they should improve their officials who are controlling VAR, because that was quite clear in my eyes. I mean, he just, the ball wasn't even in the picture and he just ran through his ankles. So I think that.
Well, you were the same guy that said that last week that the yellow was justified.
It was justified, but like now I kind of see like. I mean, United players, even with a little bit of contact, they'll go diving to the ground. So it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, Pogba didn't even the guy probably got a toe on him, and then he just like dove.
I remember that Eric Bailly game. The Eric Bailly one
against just full on donkey kicks the opponent.
That was jokes.
It's an interesting tactic by United.
But then they did go back last year and give Harry Kane the goal. Remember what was that? I can't exactly remember what happened. Like it didn't seem like Harry Kane was supposed to get that goal. Like, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Was it the 3-0 win?
I don't remember like who they. I remember like it was something like Dele Alli or Heung-min Son who scored, but they gave the goal to, like after the game was over. They gave the goal to Harry Kane because like he touched it or something. I don't remember exactly. Do you remember that?
Really? I don't remember that.
There were a bunch of memes that came out of it. Like it's saying like one of the Spurs players had a kid. So like since Harry Kane got the last touch, it's now his kid. Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but like if they can do that, maybe. But it obviously has to be refined. But yeah, going back to Mason Greenwood, what do you think?
I also gave him a 5.5. I think it was kind of a bad day at the office for him. But I think maybe he can score against Chelsea on the FA Cup semi-final to redeem himself.
Yeah, he's getting close to that 10 goals on that bet you made. How many games are there left in the league? 2 more, right?
2. I just need one more goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more.
Just one more. He's proven himself. You can't expect an 18-year-old to be scoring every day, but I mean, we are pretty harsh when we give out these criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not Stephen Nicol harsh, but ESPN FC is quite delusional, I'll say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the Fox News of pundits. Okay, I'll get out of politics. Anyways, yeah. Rashford.
I think Rashford had a brilliant game. Delivering assists, balls, goal. I'll give him an 8. I guess it's the tango with Zaha. That was an interesting scenario. He kind of lifted Zaha by the leg, and then it was an interesting. But I think he's maturing. He's able to kind of really get into that goal scoring kind of positions. We've seen his link-up play with Martial improve even more, and I think he can really be a threat for next season. I gave him 8. Yeah.
He scored 2 goals in 2 games. He's proving his prowess to Ole and the fans. Like he's doing well at like it coming off the injury and not playing for so long. He's really picking it up. Like we saw, he took a while to get started, like to get the engine starting. But like now, he's really gotten in the groove of things, and he's scored a nice goal. That's like the mark of like a good striker when they're not just like eyes on goal only, but they can figure out a way to can just get the ball in somehow by different manners. So that's a good mark of goalie forward. So 7.5.
Fair enough. Martial.
He's had good games. Like he's cemented himself as like the number 9 for the squad. I'd say like I don't think there's anyone that could replace him in the future. Like I think even like I'd say I'm saying like maybe him. I'd say him and Sancho, if Sancho does come, would be like on similar footings, like similar stats, same amount of goals, same amount of maybe not assists, but like I'd say they'd be like he's as lethal as he'll. I think next season, especially like after like the kind of like the great cup flurry of games we've had, I think he can be like an equal footing with Jadon Sancho by next year.
Yeah, I think Sancho's kind of, in my eyes, he's kind of the attacking version of Pogba. Pogba kind of draws opposition players near him as they kind of, try to take the ball from him, and then he can just pass it on to an opposition player. We've seen him do it in the Bundesliga so many times, and I think with players or teams that sit back, I mean, that could be lethal. I mean, with Sancho delivering across, and then Martial, one of the great finishers that he is, just side nets it. And I think his link up play with Rashford is great. Bruno Fernandes and Martial. I think Martial has the most goals since Bruno came. I believe it's like 6 goals in 7 games or something. So he's really like in form. So I think someone like Sancho who can and Sancho's very versatile. He can play left wing, right wing, cam. Maybe not striker, but Mason Greenwood's similar. He can play right wing, left wing, and striker. So I think that versatility that would allow maybe Ole to, even if he has the same players in his starting lineups, he can maybe even rotate them, like playing Rashford on the right.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what my question was, like, because like we've seen like Mason's been playing well and like he's a star for the future, but like we've already got like Ole. I don't think he's going to be deviating much from the 4-2-3-1 that he's been playing a lot. Bruno's gonna have to be in the starting lineup regardless, and I'd say the same for Martial and Rashford. But yeah, what do you think's gonna happen with Mason's like future with the club? Not with the club, but like with like the next if Sancho comes in.
I think like obviously we didn't expect Mason to be starting week in week out. We kind of expected Daniel James to start, but then his form started to drop, and if he's scoring goals, you can't really just drop him from the squad, I guess. But I think what Mason can do is, and I kind of go back to the Villa game. The Villa game, some players were not on their game, and the others kind of compensated for that. I think what Mason Greenwood could do is, if any of our attacking options get tired or they're not having a bad day, I think Mason can come on as like an impact sub, even if it's like 1 hour into the game, right, 60 minutes. In 40 minutes, 30 minutes, Mason still can do a lot, and I think. Mason,
so like kind of like what Ole was doing back in his glory days.
Yeah, but Ole would kind of come on more later. But I think Mason, like, he can develop under Sancho, Rashford, Martial, and I think there's instances. For example, if there's a cup tie right on the weekend, kind of like these close games, we can have Mason Greenwood play that league match, and then Sancho start that cup. So I think obviously you need competition within the squad.
Yeah. Anyways, so what'd you give him?
Who?
Martial.
Oh,
Get off topic.
I gave him. I'd say 7.5. I think Rashford was more present today, but I think Martial was just making great runs. And he's constantly improving. He's starting to get that consistent form that he was kind of lacking before, and his work ethic is also improving.
So what's your rating?
8.
8.
7.5. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd actually say 8. Honestly, they had a good game. That's all has to be said. And he scored a goal, put them ahead. So yeah. So who do you think was the man of the match?
For me, I think it was. I'd say Rashford. I think
Rashford.
He kind of brought a spark to that attack, I'd say. Obviously he was critical in both goals. And I think his composure just allowed United to kind of settle down in the attack and, kind of make the right plays.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah, I'm kind of torn between Rashford and Martial. I'm gonna have to go for Martial more out of like personal preference. That's kind of bad, but like he's so good. Like in my eyes, I really like him. He's like one of my favorite forwards at the moment. So yeah, Martial for me.
Yeah.
And going off our score prediction from last week, If you tuned in to last week's episode, a couple days ago actually, Shubh predicted 2-0 originally, but changed it to 3-0. And I was off. I said 2-1 because I had no faith in United defense would actually pull through. So neither of us got a point.
It would have probably ended up 2-1 if offsides.
Yeah. Well, what can you say? People are just going to look at the scoreline at the end of the day. That's all.
True.
Yeah. So, next match, what do you say?
West Ham currently 34 points in the table.
No, dude, Chelsea.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chelsea. Semi-final. I think
that's rough. That's tough because it's 3 days from now. So they'll literally have maybe 2 days or maybe a day and a half in between literally for rest. So what do you think is going to happen to the starting 11?
I think starting 11 will be the same. I think Shaw will play. I think he's set. I think Shaw could have maybe played today, but I think he kind of reserved him for that Chelsea match. But yeah, in interviews, Ole kind of stated that he was kind of mad how Chelsea was given 2 more days to prepare for the FA Cup semi-final because their game against Norwich was on Tuesday and United's being on Thursday today. And I think Ole has a point. I mean, it's with the close proximity of these games constantly going on. Every day counts, and I think Chelsea can maybe get an advantage. But I think United will be in their heads. I think United obviously have beaten Chelsea 3 times this season with an aggregate of 8-1. I think United can build upon that. And I think they can really capitalize on Chelsea's defense. I mean, Chelsea's defense has been very poor.
Yeah.
Rudiger and Zuma.
Their offense has really been saving them.
I guess United and Chelsea really have a similar type of style going on with United kind of carrying, the offense really carrying the defensive side of the
Yeah, if anything, it's going to be like another Bournemouth thing. It's like whose offense can do better.
Yeah, it's more of a showdown. And I mean, that would be interesting to watch. But I think if it's a showdown,
could be I
think United go out, win.
Yeah, man, I'm. This is probably going to be like the most hardest one that I'm thinking of. I'm saying 3-2 Chelsea.
3-2 Chelsea.
Chelsea. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, they've had a couple more days in between, but I think United's gonna give it a good fight. But and you're talking about how it is good for United because they want to win the silverware, kind of as you said, give them the extra boost and the extra confidence for next season to maybe even challenge for the cup. I mean the Premier League in total and and maybe a high position in the Champions League. I don't see them winning Champions League obviously next year, but yeah, I don't think they'll come out of this with a win. If anything, it'll be super close. I'd say 3-2 for Chelsea.
I think it'll be very close. I think, but I think United, what they can do is Chelsea likes to commit a lot of midfield forward with their attack, and I think United could capitalize on with their counterattacks. I just hope United don't sit back and try to do kind of what they have been doing against the likes of City, Liverpool, and other kind of top clubs early on in the season. Before the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. I mean, it has worked. We kind of saw the 2-0 win, how it kind of worked. But I think United get a win. I'd say 3-1 United because I think
3-1.
I think United kind of. I think it'll be level kind of for most of the match, but I think United will kind of secure it in the later stages.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I would love to see a high scoring game. It'd be fun. There hasn't been. Obviously Southampton won, but that was pretty boring. But yeah, it'd be fun to see what happens. I'm trying to think. What did Karim Benzema call Giroud the
F1 car?
The Fiat versus
I'm a go-kart. No, I'm a
he's a
go-kart.
Yeah, something like that. He's actually been doing well, and then not to mention Captain America, he's been playing well. He's probably Chelsea's best player at the moment for them, so they can really prove a threat because they have been. It's just the defense has been keeping them back. But yeah, how do you think United and Chelsea are gonna fare as per the league next year? Because I was honestly a couple of weeks ago, like thinking like Chelsea have a good I think they can make it to the first, but with like now we're seeing like Rudiger and Kurt Zuma playing pretty awful. I don't think like it'll be enough it'll like with the addition of Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech. I don't think it'll be enough to keep the lagging defense.
Yeah, I think kind of like with the United against Bournemouth and Villa, we kind of saw them. Against Bournemouth, right? We scored 5 goals, but then we saw against Villa. Villa weren't afraid to attack because they know our defense is still quite vulnerable. And I think other teams will kind of see Chelsea in that format. I mean, obviously, I think they'll try to play more attacking football, which will kind of drive Chelsea to have to more so regain possession and then build an attack. But I think that's what United can maybe capitalize on. And I think in Sunday's match, Christian Pulisic likes to play on the left side, right? Like Chelsea's left side, I'd say.
Left side. Like, yeah. He scored.
Like Willian's a right wing, and then
Yeah.
Giroud down the middle. Yeah, so I think, he'll be in 1v1 matchups with Wan-Bissaka. So I think they'll try to play it out like the City game with Wan-Bissaka versus Sterling, but now instead of Sterling, it's Christian Pulisic.
Honestly,
so
I think for United maybe I think their ace in the hole might be Luke Shaw. Honestly, like Luke Shaw's had the most rest. I think it's like pivotal for him to like be playing like just being running back and forth up and down the pitch if United like want to be able to attack quickly. I think Luke Shaw might be kind of like the always secret. I don't know. It's kind of like it's kind of a shot in the dark, but I'd see it working honestly.
Yeah, I think they kind of. I think Luke Shaw likes to attack more than Wan-Bissaka, so Luke Shaw kind of likes to drive forward, and then we see kind of Matic kind of play back, so it kind of converts to a back three, kind of a 3-3-3-1 in some sort of sense, or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think Matic should play on the left side and Pogba on the right side, because we've seen teams kind of target that right flank because Luke Shaw isn't as good at 1v1s as Wan-Bissaka is, and Luke Shaw finds himself constantly running up to complement Rashford and Martial occasionally. I think we can get a win. I think United has high morale, and I think Chelsea are still a bit iffy. I mean, they got the win against Norwich, but it was a 1-0 win, and against relegated Norwich, they should have done a better job. I believe they had like 22 shots, and Norwich had like 2, none on target. So I think after playing this gritty game, United are more informed to kind of fight it out for a win.
Mm. Yeah, I'm still sticking with my 3-2. Like a Norwich game, like they weren't as good, but I think like they can maybe, especially after the 4-day break, I think they can really like pop back from the match, see like the same kind of attacking and the goal scoring threat that's like at the form of their Chelsea offense, because they have a good offense. Like it's kind of odd, like Willian, then Pulisic, and then Giroud. I never see that all 3 of those guys ever playing together. But yeah, I think it could be a high scoring match. So yeah. And then we actually have a special episode. We're bringing in a Chelsea fan, so we can rag on him for our next week's episode. So look out for that. Shubh called a 3-1 United win, and I called 3-2 Chelsea win. This is the first time we had a prediction going against United. This could be the very first loss for United since the restart. So we'll see how that goes.
Loss, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a 2-0 win by United against Crystal Palace. Solid goals coming from Martial and Rashford, and a clean sheet from David De Gea, which puts them now still in 5th place, unfortunately. But they're level on points with Leicester City, and with 3-goal difference and 2 points behind. I'd say if I can, well, we're obviously not looking at the league. We're talking about the FA Cup, but 3rd place is not looking as visible as it was before the Southampton match, but I still think they can clinch it, honestly.
Yeah, I think Liverpool played a pretty terrible game against Arsenal.
But City still have a chance right now for the league. So we can obviously see maybe a City comeback. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I'd say yeah. Anyways, alrighty, goals.
Oh wait, we have a club update actually today. United actually signed Real Madrid left back Alvaro Fernandez on a free today.
I was no good for Real Madrid anyway. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of good that United are still developing the squad depth, and I think that kind of shows that Diego Dalot might be out the door. I mean, if they're getting a new left back and Dalot really hasn't proven himself, I think Dalot could definitely go on loan or maybe leave permanent for a club transfer. I think he is young, so he will be playing in the reserves team, obviously, not into the first team. But with academy young players like Ethan Laird, actually, like I thought Ethan Laird wouldn't be too bad to play today. He hasn't played. I think he's debuted once. I think against Astana when Ole played all the just academy players because they solidified their knockout stage in the Europa League. But I think it's good to see that United is kind of getting still young players to kind of compete with Brandon Williams.
Yeah. Anyway, that brings us close to our episode. And happy birthday to the eternal transfer target Gareth Bale and our very own Shubh Goyal, 17 now, with that repping that United jersey. And yeah, we'll see you next time.